Welcome, everyone. I'm Reverend Sue. I'm an assistant minister here, and it's been my joy to stand in this place of honor and to welcome all of you, those visiting from other areas. First and most important thing you need to know is where the restroom is, right? Well, we're not going to tell you because we don't want you to miss a thing, so just hold on. And when it's time, someone will help you, okay? But also, it's very important as we move into the sacredness of this service is to turn off your cell phone. So if that's kind of something you might have let slip by you, if you could take a moment to attend to that. We are here in this service today to formally recognize Reverend David as he is settling with a congregation of this center. We have called him to serve as our senior minister. And today is the day that we affirm and confirm our covenant with each other. Very important, it's with each other and with Reverend David. And we are reminded today of the sacredness of this call. We want to remember as well what this center is all about. And I want you to get a taste of it, to feel it, by recognizing this call of Seva. The call of Seva, the selfless service to the One. The selfless service to God is the very foundation of our center. And this is about doing service for this One, this God, this knowing, this love. And when we can serve in that capacity, we serve all others. And so what is this place where we serve? It's a place past all grumblings. I'll pause there as you wonder, is she talking to me? And then, even with all of that, you show up, and there's something about showing up at the call of the One, the call of service, and Reverend David is certainly standing to that call. But you show up, and you recognize, I remember why I'm here. I am remembering that this is the very heart that built this community. This is doing the service to God and serving others and building a community. You are reminded of this by Swami Muktananda, one of the teachers of one of our founders of this center, Reverend James Golden, Dr. Reverend James Golden. I should give the respect to the title he has earned on his journey through this teaching. But Swami Muktananda reminds us that the specific attitude that you need to do Seva properly, your actions should be worthy of respect. You should perform respectful and noble actions so that people can learn something from you and offer your service for the sake of service and do not have any other purpose. So why am I so preachy about Seva? And I want you to feel something in a moment. This sanctuary was transformed by a group. The moment the call, I sent out an email. I have a very small part in this, but I sent out an email and I said, would you be interested? Everybody responded, and we were too crowded for the boardroom because everybody wanted to be a part of it. But the part of the decorations, I want Diana and Sylvia and Nancy and Peggy. I want you to come up here. I want you just to stand up in the front. Don't mess that up. But if you were on the decorating committee, so I'm naming those people. If you're on the decorating committee, I want you to stand up here. I want you to stand up. If you were in landscape and you're out there up at 5 in the morning waking me up to get down here to unload bark, I want you to stand up here. And that's Roy and Charlie and landscape team. If you were here today working on the grounds, tending to every last dust particle, working and spraying off, I want you to come up here and stand up here. If you were part of the food, if that calls to you, which it does to all of us, I want you to come up, stand up here. Okay, if you're part of the food. If you're the usher, come on up. Okay, if you're part of the ushering. Can you feel it? Can you feel it building? If you were part of the community of the ministers that we have asked and invited, Reverend Lynn, you want to come on up and in service, in offering her heart to the service. If you're one of the musicians, come on up. If you made the invitations and you work in the office, here we go, Lori Barnes. Come forward if you were a part of the community in any way, building. I want you to feel it, David. Can you feel it? The music, the choir. Come on up. Music, choir, all of you. As we stand together. The board, come on forward. Come on forward. Can you feel it? Look at this. Sound team back there, stay where you are. I don't want to have my voice messed up. We love you, we praise you. Yes. Were you on the cleaning team? Did you dust a dust bunny? Georgia, I see you out there. Come on up. Don't be shy. This is a time to stand together in community, and David didn't give me this much time to speak, but I took it anyway. Why? Because this is what our center stands for, Reverend David. All righty. Go sit down now. Hurry. No, thank you. That is the honor. And why all of that? I again want to emphasize one of the oldest teachers of leadership. Another thing that Dr. James Golden invited his ministerial students into was the wonderful book of Conscious Leading. And I was referencing in that, as words of wisdom, one of the first wisdom leaders was Lao Tzu, and he says, to lead people, walk behind them. Walk behind them. And Vivekananda, one of the first yogis to ever come to America, brought this wisdom. One must be a servant of servants and must accommodate 1,000 minds. There must not be a shadow of jealousy, of selfishness. Then you are a leader. We ask you, David, to remember these truths, to see the purity, and remember the purity of your passion, the purity of your purpose, your perseverance of effort, and your passion, what made you respond to the call when our dear River Andrea said, I think you're up for it. And you called us and you came. So I want you to remember who you are, remember who we are. And in really short, I have to share this really cute story because it's about answering the call. This is from Greg Braden. And he's speaking about being in the Southwest desert during the middle of a worst drought ever in hundreds of years. Yet his neighbor asked him if he would like to join with him to pray for rain. I had some expectations and judgments about this, but I agreed, and I thought I was going to see some hooping and hollering and dancing, but none of that happened. We went to the stone circle high up in the desert. My friend stepped inside the circle with his bare feet, closed his eyes for about a minute, and then he said, "I'm hungry. Want to go get a bite to eat?" I said, "Sure, but I thought we were going to pray for rain." And he said, No. If we were going to pray for rain, rain could never happen because the moment we ask for something, we have just acknowledged that it does not exist right now. And we may be enforcing the very thing we would like to change. So why do I tell you that story? We didn't have a minister for 2 years. We kept calling for one. And then we said, never mind, Reverend Mary and I said, never mind. We'll just make do and just know that the right one is there. You know the rest of the story.
I love the way Spirit shows up around here. Oh, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Reverend Pam Sanchez, and I'm one of the staff ministers here. And I'm so thrilled to be here tonight to invite you to join me in the consciousness of opening this very sacred time, this very sacred night. So, if you will, just take a moment to just really bring ourselves totally present right here, letting go of everything that's gone before us in this day, and simply welcoming this very perfect moment. And so we are here this night for a very sacred and a very joyful, joyful purpose. And that is to celebrate, first of all, the way consciousness works. And what we have just witnessed is a perfect example of how like attracts like. We are here celebrating that the consciousness, the hard work, the visioning, the prayer, the effort, that this community, the careful consideration that this community has put in over the last years to attract the right and perfect minister to us. And all of that same careful consideration, preparation, service that Reverend David Robinson has been engaged in over the last few years has brought us together, has brought us to one another. And so we come to celebrate tonight the marriage of consciousness and all of the magnificent time ahead of us to work together as a team, as a community, as a leader, as many leaders, to continue to create and to bring into this center fresh ideas, fresh knowing. We are a fresh combination of spirits, minds, hearts, and consciousness. And we have only the greatest ahead of us to create. And so we celebrate in joy. We celebrate and we see the attributes of God here tonight, the beauty, the love with which this evening has been prepared and anticipated. All the love, all the great savor that's taken place. We celebrate this, and we celebrate each other. This great marriage of spirits, of hearts, of consciousness. We give the greatest, greatest thanks that we have been called together, and we now move forward with David to create a magnificent manifestation of all of our hearts and minds to be the best that we can be for one another, for ourselves, for our families, and for this entire community. We celebrate members of other faith communities that are here this day, celebrating with us, joining with us in consciousness. We have a great interfaith community here in Reading. We celebrate our part in that. And all of the work and all of the great vision that we are going to fulfill in the coming months to help everyone in this community to have everything that they need. Not only the food, the clothing, and the shelter that every human being deserves and desires, but hope, connection, learning, wisdom, friendship, light, goodness. And so I say thank you, Spirit, for working in this way to bring us together, for fulfilling the dreams of this community and the dreams of David, and for the wonderful law of attraction that has brought us together in this way. I give thanks for this night and for all the coming years that we work together in harmony, in truth, with kindness and cooperation, standing in our truth and by our values, doing it with love, compassion, goodness. I give thanks for this, and so it is.
Good evening. You're right, it's warm in here. That air conditioner just decided not to work this afternoon. So, just take it for what it is. Just be here in the now, be here in the moment. Great program, use it as a fan. I'm here to welcome all our ministers and our guest ministers, and I'm really honored to do that because I serve with a tremendous team of ministers. So we want to first say welcome, and please hold your applause till the end. Our wonderful Sue, Reverend Sue Miller-Bourne, Assistant Minister, CSL Reading. Yeah, stand up, please. That'll give you a little air. And our Reverend Pam Sanchez, who is a staff minister here and also one of our best chaplains. And we have Mingy. I'm an assistant minister here, and love it. And then we have Reverend Lynn Fritz, representing the Shasta County Interfaith Forum. And she is an ordained life artistry focused minister, so she's out there in the community doing wonderful things. And we have Reverend Kay Stewart, who is here at our center as a staff minister, but her focus is youth and family ministry, which she does an excellent job of. I'd like to welcome Reverend Eleanor Richards from Mount Shasta. She's the minister at Mount Shasta. It's a Center for Spiritual Living, an independent organization. And Reverend Duchess Dale. She is an ordained CSL minister, spiritual leader, senior minister at the Center for New Thought in Chico. And Reverend Bonnie Anderson, co-spiritual director of the Center for Spiritual Living in Roseburg, Oregon. Reverend Andy Anderson, co-spiritual director for the Center for Spiritual Living in Roseburg, Oregon. Chris Kerrigan, a lay practitioner here in Reading with the River Oak Buddhist Sangha. And Terry Helbig, who's a Dharma Sharia with the River Oak Sangha. And we have Reverend Mother Kathy Chalmers. She is with Reading Medical Center and is the chaplain there. And why did I say Reading? I am sorry. That's where I needed my glasses. I knew I needed them. Okay, independent Catholic priest, chaplain, Mercy Medical Center. So please join me in welcoming all these wonderful ministers. Thank you. And now we have some beautiful music from Dalton.
Good evening. I'm Reverend Lynn Fritz, and I represent the Shasta County Interfaith Forum. It is an honor to be able to affirm Reverend David, not only to this community, but selfishly also to the Interfaith Forum. The reading today is from a book called The Art of Pastoring, and this reading is written by William C. Martin. It is entitled Greatness, and it makes a reference to the term church, very fitting for the installation affirmation of Reverend David, who selected this piece. But I encourage each of us not only to see it as referencing his affirmation as senior minister, but where it says church, we also perhaps use the word family or community to apply to ourselves. It's going to ask us, if you're comfortable, to close your eyes. And taking a long, slow, deep breath in. If your church should grow large, your challenge is great. For you will be tempted to think, I did this. You then have something to prove and something to lose. And you cannot live the Tao with something to prove and something to lose. If you make a mistake, your reward is great, for you can admit it and correct it. Your greatest friends are those who honestly point out your mistakes. Your greatest enemy is your own illusion of greatness. Your church flourishes when it heals and nurtures its people. Their health becomes a beacon, guiding others, not to your doors, but to their own souls. Thank you.
We're going to perform for you a song that Spirit has delivered in the past month, specifically for this occasion. And the words that came through were not our words, but perhaps the words of our good Reverend. to me, guided me and kept me safe from harm. Sometimes I would put you to the test, and I would see you always gave me shelter from the storm. As I grew into a man, I sometimes went astray, tempted all by the world and all its charms. I didn't think that I would need your help to find my way. I couldn't see that I had never left your loving arms. I found my home here in this time and in this place. I found my home in every loving, warm embrace. Your grace has shown me miracles that I have never knew. Now it seems my hopes and dreams have led me home to you. There came a time I had to know just who and what I'd be. I thought I had it right a time or two, but as life would have it, none of that was meant for me. The only open road leads back to you. Then one day I thought I heard your loving, still small voice calling me to serve and show the way. In my heart I knew that I'd already made my choice to let you guide my footsteps to the place I want to stay. I found my home here in this time and in this place. I found my home in every loving, warm embrace. Your grace has shown me miracles and love I never knew. And now it seems my hopes and dreams have led me home to you. I found my home here in this time and in this place. I found my home in every loving, warm embrace. Your grace has shown me miracles and love I never knew. And now it seems my hopes and dreams have led me home to you. And now it seems all my hopes and dreams have led me home to you.
Good evening. I'm Reverend Bonnie Anderson, and I'm just delighted and honored to be here this evening. The energy in this sanctuary is so hopeful and joyous. This is such a joyous celebration. This is such a sacred occasion. And Reverend David was a staff minister at the Roseburg Church. That was his first position after graduating from ministerial school. So it's perfect that I'm here today to help welcome into this spiritual community. I just have to add on to Reverend Sue's story a little bit about the rain, though, because it reminded me of another story where a community was in drought. It could be anywhere in California. And the local church said, all right, tomorrow we're going to get together and pray for rain. And everybody packed the place the next day, but only one little girl brought her umbrella. And in this teaching, we bring our umbrellas. We do our spiritual mind treatment, we pray, we vision, and we know it's done. We expect it. And this spiritual community visioned and did all of the planning and the preparation to have Reverend David step forth and say yes. So it's a wonderful, magical thing. And I'm reminded of the sacredness of this calling. I'm reminded of when Reverend Andy and I were installed at the Roseburg Church. It's hard to describe the feeling when you're in the right place at the right time, and we all know it and we all feel it. It's a wonderful celebration. And we hold our ministers to a higher standard than we do other people when you think of it. So Reverend David needs your support. He needs your love and support. And we know that he goes within his own divine self to receive the wisdom and the patience and the energy and the love. For he is the Spirit expressing love through him in this world. And I see all the welcome, I see all the joy, and I see that this is the perfect fit at the perfect time, and it is most wonderful. David's willingness to rely on divine principle for all good, to rely on that inner voice. As ministers, there's no place else to go at first than within, and then we rely on you. I'm reminded of one of my teachers, Dr. J. Scott Neal, said that a minister from another calling, another teaching, said to him, well, how's your flock doing? And he said, I don't have a flock. In religious science, there's no sheep. And I don't know if this is easier or more difficult as a minister, but we love the diversity of ideas and the diversity of people that are attracted to this teaching. And I know that David is more than ready as he steps into this beautiful calling and this beautiful sanctuary and the beautiful traditions that you've had here for so long and the wonderful teachers that you've had. So we welcome you, David. We celebrate you. And this is a glorious day. Thank you.
Search my eyes. When you search my eyes, you see my soul. You see my soul. When we share a smile. When we share a smile. God's love is shown. I seek your light. When I seek your light, I find my home. I find my home. When I search for strength. light. I find my home. When I feel your love. I know I'm home. When I search your eyes, I see your soul. When we share a smile, God's grace is known. That's me holding up heaven to you. That's me holding up heaven to you. That's me holding up heaven to you. With all my heart, with all my heart, I see you. I see you. 'Cause where there is love, there is no fear. Where there is love, there is no fear. Now with all my strength, I'll hold you here. With all my strength, I'll hold you here. Yeah, that's me holding up heaven to you. That's me holding up heaven to you. That's me holding up heaven to you. With all my heart, with all my heart, I see you. I see you. I see you.
Reverend David asked me to lead this installation service, this ceremony, and I'm so honored to do that. On behalf of Centers of Spiritual Living, it is my honor to participate in this important celebration. Ernest Holmes, with his vision and through his writing, lit the torch of religious science. Those who have carried it since believed in the same principles which we declare on our own today. They knew, as we know, that these principles are impersonal and universal, that they work for all without exception. And they knew, as we know, that the power of the universe responds to the faith of all, regardless of the name by which that faith may be known or the organization to which it belongs. God is no respecter of labels. Religious science does not own the corner on truth. But we know, too, that an illuminated consciousness, a trained mind, responds to the faith of all. And an open heart together create the greatest avenue through which the universal power can flow. And so there is good reason to celebrate today the installation of those who carry the torch and declare its principles, as well as illumine consciousness, train the minds, and open the hearts of those who come to learn and apply the science of mind to their lives. On the larger, more impersonal level, this center is the natural outcome of the consciousness of men and women far removed from this place and this evening. And it is even more than that. This center is, in fact, nothing less than the culmination of a divine idea in the mind of God. On a more intimate level, it is the direct result of an idea in the minds of those who dreamed it, established it, nurtured it, and grew it, who have been willing to be its heads, hearts, hands, and feet. Today, we install another generation of leadership, one who, by his willingness, will add to the already vibrant growth of this center. Ministers, board of trustees, licensed practitioners, congregation, and friends, we are all gathered here today to install this minister of religious science as the official senior minister of this member center. Official notification has been received from the Centers for Spiritual Living in Golden, Colorado, that Reverend David Robinson has met all of the requirements of ministerial licensing by the organization and is a fully licensed and ordained religious science minister. As a minister of this Center for Spiritual Living, Redding, California, he shall act in the following capacities to fulfill the ministerial office. 1, he serves as the spiritual leader and senior minister of the congregation and counselor to all who come to him for help. 2, he serves as an official and accredited teacher of science of mind classes under the authority of the Center's covenant with Centers for Spiritual Living. 3, every minister of religious science must first have received license and recognition as a practitioner before he or she may be licensed or ordained as a minister. Therefore, he serves always as a practitioner to the needs of the people when the call is made. Finally, he serves as the president of the board, guiding with wisdom and care the decisions necessary to support this center and its growth and expression of this teaching. I now present to the Board of Trustees and the congregation to be fully installed as an official minister of this center, Reverend David Robinson. There's more. And the love that is outpouring here for David, I know that he feels it and I know that it moves him, and the love's going both ways, and it's just a wonderful and marvelous thing. Let us together reaffirm our conviction as religious scientists as we read the Declaration of Principles. And I don't have a copy. And I don't see one up here. Will just be a moment. I'll tell you a little story while we're waiting. my husband Andy and I have not, Reverend Andy and I have not been in this church for probably 10 or 12 years. Our son took Kelly Golden to the prom, the junior prom. And we fell in love with this church and with Reading then. We believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty, one indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. This one manifests itself in and through all creation, but is not absorbed by its creation. The manifest universe is the body of God. It is the logical and necessary outcome of the infinite self-knowingness of God. We believe in the incarnation of the Spirit in everyone and that all people are incarnations of the one Spirit. We believe in the eternality, the immortality, and the continuity of the individual soul, forever and ever expanding. We believe that heaven is within us and that we experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it. We believe the ultimate goal of life to be a complete emancipation from all discord of every nature, and that this goal is sure to be attained by all. We believe in the unity of all life, and the highest God and the innermost God is one God. We believe that God is personal to all who feel its indwelling presence. We believe in the direct revelation of truth through the intuitive and spiritual nature of the individual, and that any person may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God. We believe that the universal spirit, which is God, operates through a universal mind, which is the law of God, and that we are surrounded by this creative mind which receives the direct impress of our thought and acts upon it. We believe in the healing of the sick through the power of the mind. We believe in the control of conditions through the power of this mind. We believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of life to all. We believe in our own soul, our own spirit, and our own destiny, for we understand that the life of all is God. Reverend David, do you accept these principles and promise to adhere to them and make them the basis of your teaching?
I do.
Do you consecrate yourself to this ministry, that you will do your utmost at all times to reflect the Christ within in all that you think, do, and say?
I do.
Do you dedicate yourself that you will be constantly aware of the Spirit within all people, and that you will see only the perfect spiritual person, perfect in mind, body, and in spirit?
I do.
Do you promise to minister faithfully and lovingly to the people now committed to your charge, and to seek ever to be an example of peace, patience, and loving kindness?
I do.
May the infinite Spirit who empowers you to do all these things grace you with the strength faithfully to perform the same, and to live the principles of this teaching in our centers for Centers for Spiritual Living organization. I'd like the assistant and staff ministers to come forward, please. This minister knows and understands the role of his fellow ministers is to be part of the ecclesiastical team, establishing and maintaining a continual consciousness of the spiritual vision of this center. You carry out your ministries in unique and specific ways in this center through teaching, counseling, and caring for all. You support the creation and implementation of the vision of this center. The fruits of your work bless this congregation and this center. Do you consecrate yourself to your spiritual vision and ministry? Do you accept Reverend David as a senior minister of this center, as a spiritual leader and teacher? Will you support Reverend David in creating the highest vision possible for this center and making that vision a reality? Yes. Thank you. You may be seated. I would like to have the Board of Trustees come forth. I now present to you those individuals who've been elected to serve as your Board of Trustees. Not only do these board members oversee the business affairs of your center, but their individual and collective awareness establishes a consciousness for the entire congregation. Recognizing the authority you have entrusted to them, we now charge them with this responsibility. Do you promise to follow the light of truth, seeking at all times to be aware of what is right rather than who is right? Yes. Do you accept Reverend David Robinson as the senior minister of this center and as a spiritual leader and teacher? Yes. Will you support Reverend David in creating the highest vision possible for this center and making that vision a reality? Yes. Thank you. You may be seated. I'd like to call the practitioners forward, please. And yes, in this teaching, all of the ministers are also practitioners. This minister knows and understands the role of the licensed practitioner is to be part of the ecclesiastical team, establishing and maintaining a continual consciousness of the spiritual vision for the center. You also carry out most of your work in the great and powerful silence. The fruits of this work are manifested as demonstrations in the lives of yourselves, your clients, and your center. Do you consecrate yourself to this spiritual vision and activity? Yes. Do you accept Reverend David as the senior minister of this center, as a spiritual leader and teacher? Yes. Will you support Reverend David in creating the highest vision possible for this center and making that vision a reality? Yes. Thank you. You may be seated. Will all the members of the church please stand? You are the voice of this church. You are the ambassadors of religious science in this community. You are the backbone as the volunteers giving sacred service. And I know that Seva is so important in this spiritual community. It's a wonderful, amazing thing. Do you promise to uphold and practice the principles of religious science moment by moment to the best of your ability? Yes. Do you accept Reverend David as the senior minister of this center, as a spiritual leader and teacher? Yes. Will you support Reverend David in creating the highest vision possible for this center and making that vision a reality? Yes. Thank you. You may be seated. And all ministers present, please stand, of whatever faith, whatever church. As colleagues, do you promise to give of your friendship, your love, and your affirmative prayers to this minister? Yes. Thank you. You may be seated. Here comes the big moment. With the agreement of all parties involved, come here, and through the authority vested in me by the Centers for Spiritual Living organization, and as the senior minister and spiritual leader of the Center for Spiritual Living, Roseburg, Oregon, acting on behalf of this organization, I do install you here and now as minister of the Center for Spiritual Living, Redding, California, with all the rights, privileges, and obligations pertaining to your office. Teach, heal, minister to the people. May the God of peace dwell richly in your heart through love. Make your work here fruitful, and to all who are touched by this center. And so it is. Please join me in acknowledging and congratulating Reverend David.
Am I up? If you want the vision of this church to be supported, you will not ask me to sing. Thank you. I didn't write any notes for tonight because I didn't want to have any notes. Didn't want to have any preconceived. I wanted to be in the moment. And all I can say is thank you. This is the coming together of the vision of Spirit through each of us, through all of us. My vision for a ministry that I wanted, your vision for a minister that you wanted, and a center that you wanted. And this is the coronation of all of us. This is the coronation of Spirit through us. Reverend Sue earlier asked, do I see who this community is? And yes, I do. We are one. We are one. We have our little differences once in a while, but behind those differences, through all those differences, within all those differences, and within everything we do, we are one. And it's the love. It's the love. I'm sitting here looking, there's a little neon sign back there that says love. And it is the love that is the cornerstone of this community. It's the love that infuses the seva. It's the love that infuses this teaching. This teaching can be a very mental teaching. Have you noticed? But through it all, and it was called out in the installation, it's the heart that makes this so much more powerful. And so I thank you for your love, and I return that love to you. And I'm simply here to serve you in the highest and greatest way possible. And so I bless each of you, and I thank you for the blessing of this evening.
How wonderful it is. Is this a celebration or what? Well, in honor of Reverend David, I want to pick a wonderful song that I think that just fully explains what this whole evening is about. It's a simple song, and it's called Celebrate. Celebration.
Good afternoon. My name is Reverend Kay Stewart, and I'm one of the staff ministers here, and we're going to do the closing benediction. So if everyone would please stand and join hands. Join hands. Just take a nice deep breath in and feel the love and the joy that is spreading throughout this congregation, throughout this center right this moment. And know that as we have come together in the celebration of light, music, joy, laughter, and especially love, that we have come together as a reflection of Spirit being present right here in each one of us, celebrating this moment as the highest and best that is at this time. And I am so delighted that everyone has a moment of understanding, a moment of clarity as to what the ministry is. And as we celebrate David as our new senior minister, we know he is the answer to our prayers as we are the answer to his. And that nothing can separate that, can change it. This church can only go upward, can only expand outward, can only become greater. And the joy that's felt tonight is just part of what we will feel in the future and what we are feeling every moment. So I know and I give thanks that we are here at this moment. We are together and we are celebrating Spirit, celebrating Reverend David, celebrating us. And together we say, and so it is.
If you can please wait until the ministers have exited. Thank you.
We let the Lord.